the stream. Okay. The Hangout on air is live. Cheers.
There's a humming, like a feedback.
Coming from me?
It's gone now.
Okay. Maybe it was just the water. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I turned the fan off. It's warm
Okay.
in here, but I turned that off before we started recording.
All right.
All right. Shall we up, and away?
Sure.
In.
Oh wait, no,
three.
seriously. Before we get into it, there's no Eat Up show to promote.
Do you want me to say anything about it, or?
No, because I'm not. It's canceled. I'm not doing any other. I'm not doing anything besides this from now on, and that's it.
All right, we'll talk about that after offline then.
All right.
I will not promote it then.
All right.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Geekodrome. Geekodrome is the weekly roundtable discussion of all things geek. I am John, and I am joined by the Italian-American dream, Jon Stugots.
What's up, baby?
Obviously easy for me to say, but I am freshly back in New York, ready to, spew the geek.
When did you get back now? Like an hour ago?
2 a.m. last night.
Oh.
Yes, my flight was delayed a couple hours, but it meant I got to watch wrestling on my iPad in the airport.
Nice.
A trade-off. But I came home to some news that I didn't even know was out there from last summer. It's one of those stories. It's one of those stories you sent me today.
Yeah.
Because I am, behind on all geek news I was keeping up for the first day or two. But so I'm almost a week behind. And apparently Spike Lee was in talks to do a Spider-Man movie at Sony and has dropped out of Nightmare.
Well, it wasn't a Spider-Man movie. It was a Spider-Man universe character.
Sorry, a Spider-Man universe movie. Yes. So, first, did you even know he was in the running to direct this?
I didn't even know. Of all the Spider-Man characters, and Sony has like 100 different characters that they have movie rights to, I never would have thought Nightwatch would have been a character to see up on the big screen, especially with Tom McFarlane bringing Spawn to the big screen soon. And that was the whole thing. If you remember, the Nightwatch character looks exactly like Spawn.
I can one up that. I didn't even know there was a Nightwatch character.
Oh.
He appeared in like one miniseries in the 90s or something.
Yes. Night Thrasher was another one. The 90s, everyone had Night or Dark or Blood in their names.
Yeah, but at least Night Thrasher was the leader of the New Warriors.
Right.
And that book went for like 100 issues. He appears every couple of years now in the Marvel books. But Night Mask?
Night Watch.
Sorry, Night Watch. Night Mask was New Universe. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm operating on half speed today.
Night Watch. Like, even the name. I mean, unless he was a security guard in his real life, in his secret identity, the name Night Watch is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes across as so derivative.
Yeah.
And it was something about he has a living costume as well.
Yes, just like Spawn.
Yeah. And just reading that, and I'm just like, all right, well, this is kind of awful. Who would even want this?
It was a miniseries of comics.
And yeah, it was an obscure miniseries.
Yes.
I don't have my iPad here to check the Marvel Unlimited to see if it's even available on there.
I'm sure it isn't. If it was a Marvel movie, then yeah, it would be on there. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. I don't know. They don't really push the alternate studio stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was a Marvel Studios movie that they were, trying to get Spike Lee to direct, that comic book would be on the app.
Oh, of course. Without a doubt. But instead, we got whatever this is. All right. So I have the app on my phone here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to search characters. Night. Just typing Night. How do I
But
get?
you got a comic book about M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, really. So just if you're watching on the YouTubes, this is everything just by typing the word night. You can see it in the search bar.
Yes.
Black Knight, and there's been a couple of those. Misty Knight, Moon Knight, House of M, Moon Knight Ultimate. All right, now we get to the ends. Night Thrasher, Dwayne Taylor. So I guess there were two of them. Nightcrawler Ultimate, Nighthawk, Nightmare, Nightshade, and then we skip down to Werewolf by Night. So he doesn't even get a listing in the Marvel Unlimited app. I mean, it's like, what are they even trying? It's nobody even wants to see this. All the interesting characters are going to be tied up in the MCU when they do the Sinister Six against Spider-Man. And I mean, all right, we've already wasted Venom, which we know we're seeing a sequel because it made a crap load of money.
Right. And now the Black Cat and the Silver Sable movies are coming out.
Yeah, well, originally they were supposed to be in Silver and Black, but now they're getting separate movies.
Right.
Morbius is supposed to be the next one up. Morbius, the Living Vampire.
Okay.
And I think that could be interesting.
I think so.
I mean, he's had his own series over the years. He's never done that well, but it's a character that at least the comic book geeks know.
Right.
And they bring him out every couple of years again, and there's stuff you can do with him. I mean, it's vampires. There's always stuff you can do with vampires.
Yes.
Put him up against Blade or something. Although I don't think they have Blade. So it's just like there's so much.
No, wait. Morbius the Vampire is a Spider-Man universe character, but Blade isn't.
Yes, because Blade started in his own book. Morbius started in the Spider-Man book. So basically, the rule is the character has to have their initial appearance. In a Spider-Man comic book.
I wasn't sure how they broke down. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same reason like Fox has all the Fantastic Four characters and all the X-Men characters. Although I don't know what the deal is with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Weird story, but so you have, anybody who's locked in through that.
Hey, you know what's weird? All right, so both of them are in the Avengers and the X-Men universe, and so is Wolverine.
Yeah, but Wolverine appeared in X-Men for the first decade in just X-Men.
Yeah, I know. It's just weird how though Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are able to be in both movies. Well, Quicksilver anyway.
Well, both of them premiered in X-Men #1 in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Right.
So I don't know what the story is.
Like why? For how it breaks down to the movies then.
That's
weird how they could be in both sets of movies. I'm not talking about the comic, how they're both in both sets of comic books. That's easy enough. But how they both end up being in separate and different movies that are in different companies.
And which versions were better?
Oh, the X-Men movie Quicksilver was definitely better.
Yes, much better.
It was definitely better for me to see, but the Avengers one was probably closer to what the actual comic book version was.
I'll give it that, but they also didn't give him a lot to work with there.
No.
And then Scarlet Witch was just, a little girl named Wanda versus, the one that we got in the Avengers.
Yeah.
So it's really not a strong comparison there.
No, I wouldn't even compare them. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny. It's just, here's Wanda at the end of the movie. And that's as they were getting mediocre anyway.
So what other Spider-Man movies are they going to end up making?
All right, so we have those are the ones that have been announced.
Right. So and then I see there's no real list. But what do you think? What would be the most absurd? But then what would be one you'd like to see?
So that's a tough question. I'm trying to think. Spider-Man spin-offs. Obviously I want to see Miles Morales, but I think that would be too tied to the MCU.
Right.
My favorite villains are the hardcore villains, so they're going to be MCU. Mysterio is always one of my favorites, and I want to see a movie version of him. I believe the
I
rumors.
think they will. Yeah, there's a rumor for that.
Well, the rumors it's Jake Gyllenhaal in the upcoming Spider-Man Far From Home, and I'm excited for that. I think a character who's based on movies and being, the major villain of a movie, there's a lot of potential.
Definitely.
Other than that, I'm trying to think. I mean, Prowler's not that interesting, but he was kind of in the last Spider-Man movie by not Danny Glover, Donald Glover.
Yes, his son, Danny Glover's son.
Yeah, exactly. Donald Glover, his character was the same name as Prowler's real name.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the hint that, hey, we kind of have him in. And he's Miles Morales' uncle also. So it kind of leads in. I'm trying to think what other like great characters. And I'm not saying that there aren't great characters. I'm just thinking I can't think of them off the top of my head. Why? Who do you think would make a good one?
I don't know enough of Spider-Man's characters because I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. But I really would have liked to have seen, or I mean, I know we'll see Silver Sable, but I'd really like to see Silver Sable in the Wild Bunch?
Wild Pack.
The Wild Pack.
Yeah.
I'd like to see like 2 or 3 movies with them before going into a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree that a Silver Sable movie, that's a great movie that doesn't have to attach to Spider-Man.
Right.
I think that's what makes her work so well as her own movie. I think even Black Cat could be a great heist movie.
Yes.
She's a character who, I mean, I think she's had miniseries without Spider-Man. So all you need is a good foil for her. Trying to think who else would be good. I mean, the problem is everyone I think needs somebody like Spider-Man as a foil.
Right.
Like Kraven the Hunter is a great character.
Right, but on his own, I don't want to see it because what's he going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that the hero has to. Well, I mean, it's really a take on The Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
A great Kraven story, which means that you need the hero who's trying to escape Kraven.
Right. So that one would directly tie into Spider-Man movie. Like he would have to be in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, or at least he would need like a superhero or something.
Right.
To make it interesting. I mean, that's just it. Like every time I try to think of like what they can do with these movies, they're so limited.
A lot of these Spider-Man heroes that came, heroes that come out of Spider-Man were once villains in one way or the other.
It's true. There is a lot of that, or they'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
Although some of the great villains, like Green Goblin, great villain, always homicidally evil. Hobgoblin, there's been like 10 of them, and it depends who's behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of goblins, really, but you got the Venom and the Carnage, which really need a Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The symbiotes really need Spider-Man.
To start, it really should have been started in the Spider-Man movie, and I think we discussed that last week on the show.
Yeah, and again, like Venom didn't have a great villain to it. Like it fell flat to me, but we discussed that as well.
Yeah,
like what makes a great hero is a great villain, and vice versa. And yeah, because I mean, I love a good villain. Anybody who can chew the scenery and really work it up, that really makes a great movie. Because who's Luke Skywalker without Darth Vader?
Right. He's just an annoying farm kid.
Exactly. You need the challenge, and using video game terminology, the villain has to be like 5 levels higher than the hero.
Right.
That challenge to overcome.
Right.
It's part of the hero's journey.
Yes.
If I walk in and I'm, again, to use video game, I walked in, I did all the side quests, I'm 10 to 20 levels above all the villains at that point. You're just breezing through, and it's not really a challenge, a story to overcome. Right. And there's no conflict.
Right. And that's what the movie was missing.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what makes great stories. Good conflict. So, yeah. So, there's so many and I'm sure they'll if somebody were to focus on the heroes instead of making movies of the villains, we could have better movies.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think.
And I have no problem with them having their own movies, but start them in the Spider-Man movies as villains, Let them do something to redeem themselves along the way to then warrant that movie.
Exactly. And some of these characters can stand alone. Again, I think Silver Sable and Black Cat could be fantastic, just because their characters are not intrinsically tied
Yeah.
to a hero. You know, there's been great heist movies, there's been great action army movies, and that's all you need. Not a fantastic movie, but The Losers was a good comic book movie, which was about a bunch of military guys who are thought to have blown up a helicopter full of children, and now they have to go out and redeem themselves. It stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Chris Evans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was on cable a couple weeks ago, and that's what made me think of it just now. But
Huh.
it's not a bad movie. I would definitely recommend checking it out. And the cast has all become like major superhero stars.
Nice.
So which makes it even funnier. But yeah, but just I'm keep trying to think of just you know I will be honest though, I am looking forward to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I am too. When I saw the preview for it at the movies 2 weeks ago, I thought it was really cool to see.
Yeah, and it just looks fun.
Yeah.
And you have a ridiculous number of Spider-Mans just running around. We don't know much about the plot.
Mm-mm.
Just there are a lot of Spider-Mans across all these different universes. And I've read the comic, and the comic was just awesome. But it was a bit, for a movie, it's overdrawn. For a comic, it works.
Right.
So they're obviously going to have to be more focused. I don't know if they're going to have the same villains or anything. But I'm psyched for it. I'm in. I want to see that this December. After we see Vinny Chase's Aquaman.
Yes, and Spike Lee's Night Watch.
And Spike Lee's Night Watch, yes.
Like, I've enjoyed a lot of Spike Lee's movies. Not all of them, but most of them. Recently, the Black Klansman. And I would love to see Spike Lee make a superhero film and set it in the 70s.
So what is it, if you could see him direct any hero, who would it be?
Oh, I don't know.
I know it's a bad choice because he's just had 2 seasons of his own show.
Probably Luke Cage would be the, and I'm not trying to be racist or anything. It's just Spike Lee has a very distinct perspective on things, and setting the movie in the 70s and having a black superhero, a black main character. I think that it all would work.
Yeah, I was teeing it up, and you just knocked it off there. But yeah, Luke Cage is totally the kind of hero I would see.
I mean, what black superheroes are there that we don't have on film? We have Luke Cage on TV. We have Black Panther.
Night Thrasher, who we mentioned earlier.
Night Thrasher would be good. And again, I always like setting stuff like in the 70s and 80s because you get that the racial tones being what they were, and at the same time, technology then is removed from it.
Yeah. Well,
and again, that's my personal preference because the 2 comic book ideas I came up with, one set in the 70s, one set in the 80s. And again, it's because of the lack of technology. But again, for Spike Lee, he'd have those racial tensions to play off of. Not that you couldn't set it in 2018 and have them, because obviously we do.
Oh God,
but
yes.
I think for his voice and style, I think a period piece works better.
Yeah. Well, think about how many movies are cut short thanks to cell phones.
I mean, Seinfeld. Every episode of Seinfeld would have been over before the final of the intro with a cell phone.
Pretty much. Oh wait, we need a. Damn it! I'm thinking of any.
The Master of Domain episode. They wouldn't have gotten out of the diner with cell phones because they would have been looking at porn on their phones.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Elaine could have won that easy. She would have just went to the bathroom, took a picture of herself topless, sent it to the 3 of them. They would have went back to their apartments and did their deeds, and she would have been like $1,000 richer.
There you go. Or when they went for the babka,
yes,
just oh, we could just get a babka somewhere else. We could take care of this.
The movie theater episode where they can't find each other. They're in 4 different movie theaters. Cell phones.
Yeah. How did we ever operate without them?
I don't know. I did pretty good with that one for so long. So
Tell me about it. I mean, I was in a water park on was it Friday, and we locked up the cell phones. Any technology was locked up.
yep,
Nobody could touch us for the rest of the day.
yeah,
It was weird, especially when she wandered off at one point and I couldn't find her.
yeah. Cell phone would have been handy.
It would have been. She went to the bathroom. I'm like, I'll be out here waiting. I
Why
got
don't you
the
guys get some waterproof walkie-talkies and just go breaker?
Oh, yes, you CB talk. But she went to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, now I have to go to the bathroom. I go in, I come out, I'm waiting for her. She thought I left her because she
Of
wandered
course.
off, come back to find me. I'm like, well, the bathroom's right here. You got to assume I said I'd be right here. So obviously, like, I had the urge.
Right.
And, I was just like in there for 2 minutes. So it couldn't have been like anything major happening.
Sorry, my camera keeps falling. I don't know how to get it to stay down. I had I had like a Midas touch earlier. There we go.
We got to get you a stand.
I'll have one for next week.
All right. I'll build you one out of Lego.
No, I have two like right behind me. I just have to take the case off of my phone so that I can use it.
Oh, I thought you were going to attach it to the ceiling fan.
No, because it won't fit into the holder with the case on it.
Yeah, that always happens. All right. So, I don't know. Are you looking forward to any of the current crop of Spider-Man movies then?
No. Only the Spider-Man movie itself.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That's an MCU movie.
None of the spin-offs, no. This extended Spider-Man universe, no, I'm not.
Yeah, it's like I like the characters, but I just don't have faith in Sony.
Yeah.
Like if Marvel Kevin Feige tomorrow says, I'm doing a Black Cat movie, I'd be like, all right. Where do I buy my tickets?
Here's my $15.
But first we need a Black Widow movie.
Yes.
At this point, she deserves her own movie.
Yeah.
It's been what?
I know we always say about how we don't want to see anyone's origins anymore. I want to see her origin. I want to see, and it can be told in flashbacks or whatever. I want to see the Red Room and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I would rather a forward-facing movie where it's like she faces, I'm going to blank on the character's name, but the other Black Widow, the blonde one.
Yes.
And do it like a spy versus spy movie.
Yes.
And have the intermeshed backstory.
Yes.
And that's how you show the story. So you get in the background. And it doesn't need to be an origin movie, but it can have origin scenes like they did in Avengers, and they showed her.
In the second season of Agent Carter, wasn't there a Black Widow?
There was. Yes, there was.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they never really went like deep with it.
Well, because I guess maybe if they had a third season of it.
But yeah, she was. They did do that in the second one, didn't they?
I would love a third season of Agent Carter.
I would too, but we're never going to see it.
No.
Instead, we got one season of Inhumans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, was that hard to watch?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like those characters. I wouldn't say I really like them, but I like some of them. And it was just so awful.
I'm sure they're very nice people.
They're fictional, so it doesn't matter.
Ah.
But it's just like, well, Marvel doesn't have the X-Men, so we're gonna push the Inhumans as hard as we can on TV and movies. And then it's
yeah.
Episode 1, we have these superpowered people who live on the moon. Let's take away all their powers and scatter them across the earth, and then have 8 episodes of them trying to find each other without powers.
It was really kind of be like you and Andrea trying to find each other without cell phones in the water park.
Exactly. But what are you going to do about that? I agree.
Yeah.
I thought you left me there. You went for a walk or something.
No, I was trying to see something.
Oh, all right.
I'm trying to figure out what was going on the TV, but I can't.
10-woman battle royal. Oh, no, 10-woman tag match. The good guys win.
Wow, Lita still does the moonsault pretty well.
She does. There were 1 or 2 moves she wasn't getting as high as she used to during this match.
That's fine. I mean, she's like 45, so I love that Natty's doing the heart attack all the time now.
Yeah.
Every tag match she does it. I love it. She doesn't get a pin with it though.
Oh well.
Sorry.
What are you gonna do? But what we're gonna do is the hot pickage.
Ooh, hot picks.
Red hot picks. And since you gave me a hint to what yours was, and it's on topic, you can go first.
Oh, thank you. On the WWE Network, there is you have to go into the pay-per-views section, and you could watch last night's pay-per-view Evolution, the first all-women's pay-per-view event for the company. It was a great card. It didn't have the proper build-up that it should have had. Definitely, it was really hard to be emotionally involved in the matches going into the event because, again, the build-up was poor. But it was a quality event that each and every woman on that card should be proud of. Top to bottom. The legends that came back. Ivory did a moonsault. I mean, she's 55, for Christ's sakes. She did a moonsault, then she was going up to do another one. And the crowd went banana for her, too, when she did it.
That's awesome.
The whole card, the Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, last woman standing match, maybe one of the best last person standing matches I've ever seen. I would have to say the Ric Flair Terry Funk one may have been slightly better, only because they had some free reign with blood and whatnot that the women did not have. They made it work, though. Each and every bump that they took in that match looked stiff and brutal. You saw the referee checking them plenty of times to make sure they were all right. The Ronda Rousey, Nikki Bella match. Ronda Rousey, for me, gets better every week. And because she really knows how to hit, kick, punch, throw people, to see her try to do it without hurting people really gives it a level of realness to me. Authenticity is probably the better word. Where it looks like, hey, did she mess that up? But it looked like it hurt like hell. And I haven't seen anyone complain about her hurting them, so I have to assume that she's not hurting anyone.
The only time I ever have a problem with it is when she's doing her fast punching.
Yeah,
you can see she's really trying to pull back to not hit somebody.
Yeah,
and it falls a little
that
short.
look in her face, like, oh wait, yes. But everything else, every one of her judo throws looks like it really would crack your spine.
Yeah, and so I watched it off and on in pieces in the airport last night since my flight was so delayed. I did notice Ronda's outfit. The bottoms fit fine. The top has to keep adjusting. And
the top, yes, Jen had pointed that out too. That her, while she doesn't have much upstairs, you could tell she was afraid of it popping out.
Yeah, and I just thought it was funny because you always mention how she's adjusting the shorts.
Yes.
Every time we talk about her matches. So
yeah, she's constantly adjusting them. So it looks like they got her some better fitting ones.
Now you just need a better fitting top, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So like I said, I was stuck in an airport, so whenever we were sitting around, I was flipping it on the phone or the iPad. That last woman standing match was amazing.
Yeah.
The neck drop on Becky onto the chairs, that looked brutal.
Yep.
You could see the ref just went in there. He's just like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, and they do the thing where it's like, "Hey, squeeze my hand," and to see if they can follow directions and if neurologically they're intact. And let me tell you, he did that a lot.
Oh, I believe
during the match.
Yeah, and I'll agree. It did they're building up the Saudi Arabia thing way more than they did Evolution.
Definitely. Well, and that was what a big complaint was. A lot of fans were saying "Oh, I'm not." The build up for Evolution was poor, so I'm not going to watch it. No, it's just because they have this other multi-million-dollar event that they're contractually obligated to put on. So they have to build that up as much as possible.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they didn't put them literally within a week of each other.
Yeah.
So they had, a little more time to build each of them properly.
Yeah.
And even tonight, the blow off from the Evolution, they didn't mention the Evolution for 20, 25 minutes in, and they just showed a video package. And it wasn't another 10 minutes till they talked about, the actual match, and then did this, talked about tonight's 10-woman tag match. And I just wish they gave it more attention. Like I said, if I was here in New York, I would have been there last night. And because
I'm surprised that I had a lot of friends that were there.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of friends on Facebook who were there. Some of our mutual friends. One of our friends, George, was literally like on the ramp, so he had lots of pics and videos. So yeah, honestly, my other problem was it looked just too dark on screen.
There were a couple matches that, like, I think they did that not because it wasn't. I mean, they do that for two reasons. The main reason is ticket sales. If people didn't buy up all the seats, but I had a friend sitting in the second to upper deck tell me that it was packed except for some of that upper deck. So they could have left it a little bit brighter. The other reason that it's done is to try to create emphasis almost going on in the ring. For the last few years, the crowds have been trying to hijack shows. And maybe they did that just to make sure that no one last night did that. But no fans did that last night. It was actually refreshing to see a show where the fans aren't doing stupid chants or throwing beach balls, trying to get themselves over rather than the talent.
Like, what do people do to hijack the shows? Like, I haven't really seen that too much.
The wave, beach balls, their signs, and chants.
Oh, okay.
At every event lately, it seems like there's a resurgence of a CM Punk chant. And it's like, I was a fan of CM Punk. I think he was unbelievable on the microphone. And he had very good moves. He did not want to wrestle anymore. Like, okay, you have to get over it. People move on with things in their lives.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with the way that WWE was treating him. He moved on. He tried to do UFC. I think he's trying to do it again. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I like him well enough that, again, I wasn't watching at that time, but I like what I've seen in hindsight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, Evolution looked like a great one. It would have been nice if they gave it a little more attention, a little more production. Because I mean, it felt like an indie show, at least for quite a bit of it. And not a complaint, but just because they made, like, the ring was dark, and then the background was dark, and it was just like, all right, we get it. You're trying to hide things, but yeah, it was a fantastic show. It really was.
It really was. Every match, there was not a bad match the whole night. I mean, even the Battle Royal, which is probably maybe the worst match of the night, but it's usually a bad match. There's never been a great Battle Royal, but even that one worked.
Yeah, well, I'm always a bigger fan of the Royal Rumble because of the spacing, it works better.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about
you're never
20 guys at once.
Yeah, you never in Royal Rumble. It's usually 10 people maximum that you'll get out there, which is perfect. You don't need any more than that.
Yeah, that's why it works so well. And besides, that Flair 92 Royal Rumble.
Oh my
God.
Best ever. Yeah, best ever.
All right. So for my hot pick, while I was in Florida, we visited Universal Studios on, was it Thursday. And on Thursday, not only did we stick around after like the park closed, but we stuck around for Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, nice.
So I know you don't like horror movies. How do you feel about like the haunted houses?
I hate haunted houses, and I had to go to one Friday night.
It's too bad you weren't at the same one I was at. So yeah, I mean, they can be really awful.
The one we went to was really well done. It was done by a bunch of high school students who donate the money raised to charity, and it counts as like their senior project. It was really good. At one point, I was getting annoyed, and I actually told someone, if you don't get the fuck away from me, I'm going to punch you. And I kept my hands in my pockets the whole time. I don't like haunted houses. My natural instincts take over of wanting to pummel someone who's walking at me with the machete. I can't help it.
Yeah, well, thankfully, these didn't really jump too much out at you.
Good.
And the other thing is there were a little too many people, so we were rushed a little too much, so you could mostly see them coming. But
oh, good.
But the nice thing is it's Universal, so they have the rights to like the movies. So there were 10 houses at Universal Studios Orlando.
Yeah.
We went. I bought a VIP pass for us to go to 5 of them, and then we hit one other one. And so like the best one for us was Stranger Things.
Okay.
Because we love the show on Netflix.
Yeah.
So basically, it was kind of a recreation of the first season, kind of an original bit to it. So first you kind of walked through Hawkins, and you had kids dressed as the kids, and
nice.
Demogorgons just jumping out at you. And then then you get to the house, and you get to see like how the house looked in the TV show.
Yeah.
And then you walk through a portal in one of the walls, and you're in the Upside Down. And instead of Demogorgons jumping out at you, it's the sheriff saying, get out of here. And then it's the guys in the yellow hazmat suits. And they're not even like jumping out to scare you. It's just like, what are you doing here? Get out of here. And it was just so great, just as a fan of the show, being in there.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where you wanted to take pictures of yourself in there, but no pictures allowed in the houses.
Oh, wow.
It's like it was such a faithful recreation that it was amazing.
That's cool.
We went through a house that was Poltergeist themed.
Original Poltergeist or remake Poltergeist?
Original Poltergeist.
Ooh.
So, I honestly haven't seen the movie in years, so I don't remember all of the movie.
So that dude just died that was in it, the one who played his boss that built the house on the cemetery.
Yeah. Well, that character wasn't in the house, but it's just like you walk in, it's a recording, you see the house above you, and it's you moved the headstones, but you left the graves. And then you're walking through the house, and you're seeing the family, and then the TV it's above you with a statue of the little girl.
Yeah.
And at one point, and you see the guy, you walk past the bathroom where it's the guy with this skin off his face, and that one's again a mannequin. Man. But then as you're walking through, it's like, here's the clown.
Oh.
Yeah. So and then you walk through. And towards the end, there's a whole area just themed against the clown, like his arms all over the walls and stuff. And it's just awesome to be part of like that movie that I grew up on.
Yeah.
What we I don't know. Well, since you don't like horror movies, there was Trick or Treat, which is an anthology horror movie I love a lot. There were a couple of original ones that they did. One was Scary Tales, based on fairy tales, and another one that was sort of like a not graveyard, but like a junkyard.
Okay.
They called it something graveyard, and it was cool, but it's just fun. Like I love the theming they did, like the attention to detail in these things, and even as you're walking down the street, they had themes. They had friggin' killer clowns from outer space.
Oh, nice.
In a section like of the street. And I'm like, nobody fucking remembers this movie, but there it is. There are the clowns just walking up to you. You have like they had one thing where it was like the cotton candy hanging with a straw sticking out. And I'm just like, holy shit, people actually remember this bad movie and they're actually like recreating it. That is fucking awesome. And then another area was like New Year's Eve, 1985, but it's all infested with vampires.
Whoa.
So you have like pop culture people like Michael Jackson and David Bowie as vampires, as well as like punks and things like that. And it was just so cheesy in 1980s, and it was so much fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, if except for rushing us through the lines in the houses themselves, it was awesome.
That's cool. It was
so much fun. So I had a great time. I love, like, Universal is hit or miss for me, but these things really nailed it.
Cool.
They really knew how to do the Halloween Horror Nights. So, highly recommended.
Nice.
And on that note, if you want to hear more about Geekodrome or Halloween Horror Nights, you can find us at geekodrome.co. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find your fine podcasts. And if you want to talk to us about any of these things, we're at Geekodrome Pod on Twitter and on Facebook at Geekodrome Podcast. I'm John, and you can hit me directly at just John on Twitter. And Stugots over there, you can find him at Don Stugots on the Twitters.
That's right.
And he always knows where to find things that are just